Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Following my previous PK video, I had a significant amount of requests in regards to somewhat of a guide on how to put the build together. So I thought to myself, why not throw together some of the previous episodes with a little bit extra along the way so that you can all do the same. Realistically, this is the best account that both I've ever created and, in my opinion, the best account for PvP. In my years of creating accounts, nothing even comes close to the enjoyment that I've derived from this build, and I reckon it's down to the versatility. You happen to have a target with defense, just rip out the debo and you have the same stats as a regular range pure. It's truly unmatched in every regard. With all that being said, I will stop the rambling and get onto the video, but just before that I'd like to quickly take note on some of the clips popping up revolving around bug abuse. And I'd just like to throw out some clarification. Those clips are taken from the year 2021, which was a golden age of bug abuse, and I also happen to have quite a few old clips that have never seen the light of day. So if you guys are interested in some of that, let me know in the comments section below and I'll get on to putting together a video catered towards that. So without further ado, I hope you all enjoy today's video. Hey there guys, and welcome back to a new video. I know it's certainly been a long while since our last upload, seeing we spent the latter end of 2023 over in the States, catching up with a bunch of the lads and my brother. However, after a well-needed break, we are back and re-energized for a new journey. This, for the most part, is a passion project. In 2024, I want to record and showcase what I actually enjoy. And in this particular video, we'll be making from scratch what I'd like to call a Greater Corruption Obby. Greater Corruption is a high-level mage spell on the Arceus spellbook requiring 85 mage, that happens to drain the opponent's prayer an exponential amount every 10 ticks. This will last 3 cycles and can be used in tandem with Smite, which in the mid-50s bracket can be extremely powerful, increasing your chances to smite your opponent significantly. And seeing the brackets flooded with obbies, the inexperience when dealing with Smite alongside the meta remaining at 31 prayer, we have more than a reasonable chance of smiting plenty of Statius Warhammers. And now that you all know the gist of the build, you might be asking yourself what's going on in the background. And what that is me saving you from seeing all the same garbage Wintertold content you always see on every other video. As most of you probably know, I'm somewhat of a min-maxer, and wanted an avenue to put my excess prayer into after all the quests and mini-quests are completed. So yes, I got 95 firemaking before gaining any HP XP so that in the future I have a shot at some of the Zealot pieces, obtained at a 1 in 128 chance with the Urium Shade keys. Now, I've done this before on a Zerka and only managed to get the boots, so it is quite a long shot, but it's better than nothing. Starting off, we'll finish up Gertrude's cat so that we can let the kitten grow while questing, not wasting any time waiting around for the cat to finish off the Evil Dave subquest in the future. The Witch's House is up next, giving us a reasonable amount of HP to tackle some of the more dangerous quests. Though it's not much, this should do us till the end of the build, seeing we will be finishing up at 67 HP. Now, 67 HP will put us at 59.9 combat. This account will be somewhat of a glass cannon with 16 attack to give us both 75 range and mage while remaining melee based. Though it is an unorthodox build for me to make, this will also give us tons of variety in Bounty Hunter, even being able to PK with relative ease as a ranger. Not only that, but with a saturated heart from 74 mage onwards, we can boost up to 85 for 5 minutes in BH, unlocking the coveted Greater Corruption. Here we'll quickly smash out the tourist trap for the agility XP, starting us off at 26, which actually makes a huge difference when questing. Also, when doing this with low HP, you can use the mercenaries as a body block by simply talking to them every few casts to keep the NPC interacting with you. I'd also suggest to actually grab the cell door key off the table. It doesn't seem to be on the guide, even though you can get thrown in the cell when trying to remove the NPC's shackles. This will also save you from killing the captain again for the key. I also plan on smashing out all possible quests on the build before I get stuck into any serious strength training, so I want to make sure I've finished everything important before getting HP. Finishing the dig site gives us access to Fossil Island, which we'll use for both birdhouse runs and Siliocept tree runs in the future. Now, seeing we have the luxury of 16 attack, we won't need to conserve range XP for Slayer, but we will still need 72 woodcutting for Grim Tales. Now, one little hidden facet of Prayer XP are kudos. Once you've received 151, you can talk to the information clerk in the museum for 4k Prayer XP, which will be done through Siliocepts. Before we get started with Animal Magnetism, we'll need 18 Slayer, and we're smashing this out now so we can first collect the 3 lamps from the Historian at 20 Slayer, and then finally the Achievement Diary lamps at 30. If you wanted to, you could probably use this as somewhat of a relative guide, seeing that this is the most efficient method to min-max an obby as quick as possible. This actually only took me 6 days to finish, and I'll likely cut it into 2 or 3 videos, seeing there are 200 odd clips to get through. Anyways, we'll quickly knock out Death Plateau nice and early, because there are actually a few cases where we need to melee, and having the attack levels are only going to help us in the long run. We'll also grab a quick task from Turiel before we unlock Mauritania, seeing it's much easier to get a quick and easy task as we only need to kill 1 NPC for 18 Slayer. Also, some of these quests may not seem like they're in any particular order, however this is day 1 of questing, and I'm aiming to complete Temple of Ikov on day 1 for the range XP, which will come in handy in the future. What? No way. That is ridiculous. I've never seen that happen before. After killing both the tough guy and the bandit champion, we're met with a quick 15k thieving XP. While knocking out a number of the Kudo quests for lamps, I made sure to elk along the way, working towards 50 mage for the Tome of Fire. It's actually really nice for once to not have the restriction of both mage and range XP. On a regular 1 attack obby, we cap out at 67 while remaining melee based, but in this case we can expend plenty more XP, making all the quests that much more of a breeze. Also, one epic change that they made recently is the Karend Favor. We don't even have to worry about it anymore. You can just instantly do the quests, which will also save us at least 10 to 12 hours of meaningless grinds. Another lovely perk of removing the favor is the fact that we can actually do all of the activities locked behind it immediately, with the fruit stalls being the best early game thieving XP for a while working towards 42 for Temple of Ikov. Now, this quest is a bit of a funny one. The quest guide does state that you need 40 range, which is essentially true. You do need the range level to fire the ice arrows, however you don't need any requirements to equip them. So with that said, as long as you have the ice arrows in your quiver, you can still hit the boss as long as you use a ranged weapon, meaning you can actually do this at 1 range. Once you've actually killed the NPC, you can also bank for your Limpwort roots without it affecting the state of the quest, making this one of the most advantageous quests to do as early as possible. Now that we've started on our range XP, we can freely unlock Mauritania, seeing we still have our previous Slayer task to get us to 20 Slayer so that we can use our lamps. And as you can see, a nice little body block from the ult meant that we could easily chip away at both range and Slayer. The main goal at this stage is 36 range, unlocking the Myth Crossbow and in tandem Emerald Bolts E. You'll also see why this is so important in just a minute. Not to mention all the necessary items like the Ogre Comp Bow, which we'll also need in the future. While running past, we can go ahead and pick up some of the lamps that we've been storing up. We still have an extra that we can get, but we are in no such hurry. With that, we've also managed to get over 100 kudos for Fossil Island, and enough to get the 2nd tier reward from the information clerk. All these little rewards really do come in handy, seeing we want to be skilling as little as possible, and mainly rely on the quest rewards themselves. And as you can see in the previous clips, that's exactly what we've been doing. With just 2 days logged onto the account, we've been literally speedrunning the build. I fully forgot to even record the Dagonoth Mother clip, however we've gone and finished 36 range, gotten our god books, and now we can get stuck into the Haunted Mine. Seeing that we've now got 50 mage in the Tome of Fire, we'll main hand mage for the increase in damage, however the saving grace will be the Emerald Bolt E spec. But before we go more in depth into that, did you see what just happened? So if you go back a few frames, you can for whatever reason still get random events down here, and if you take them, you're technically leaving the area. Which means, as you can see, our glowing fungus has just disappeared, and we essentially have to redo the entire quest. You're kidding me. Nevertheless, after running all the way back through the caves, we've got to deal with Truest Death, or however you're supposed to pronounce the name. This guy's immune to just about everything, although he is immune to poison. For some reason, if you proc poison on him, his attack speed drops drastically. To make this even more viable, you can also stand on the tracks and use an animation stall to prioritize the specific attack, meaning that the projectiles will stop entirely. Fortunately for us, we actually have a reasonable HP level to not need to do so, however it does make it that much easier. Now that we're plus 30 strength, we also unlock the blast pump, which will become our home while we're both at work and when editing videos. As for Agrithnar, we'll utilize a similar method, simply poison, then mage for the rest of the kill. In regards to finishing him off, you don't actually need to hit with a Silverlight for the kill to register, it simply has to be equipped as it dies. Now that we've got seemingly adequate strength and attack to take on Recruitment Drive for the Prayer XP, we'll tackle this in a bit of an unconventional way. Seeing that you can't bring any items into the instance, and the Cannon Smuggler's been patched, we'll be using a Divine Super Combat. And this will hopefully keep our stats boosted for long enough until we get into the combat room. This usually could take a couple of attempts, but for the most part it isn't too hard at all, and it is better safe than sorry. Following the completion of Recruitment Drive, we have all the requirements we need for the Wanted quest. This puppy will give us a nice 5k Slayer XP, which will get us just off of 30 Slayer, high enough for our combat achievement completions. One of the wider goals on the account, as I've mentioned before, is the Zealot robe set by 52 Prayer, which can be extremely difficult, so we'll do everything in our power to reduce the Prayer XP wherever we can. For example, while doing Ghost Ahoy, you need 25 Ecto tokens to travel to Dragontooth Island. However, you can get 500 before you even start to unlock the island permanently. And as we're somewhat of a completionist obby, we'll be doing that right away, skipping out on just a little bit of XP, though it is better than nothing. Another little trick that you can do during Ghost Ahoy is grab 2 of the villagers together and go through their dialogues one by one, which will give you a different answer every time you talk to them. And seeing you can only walk while under the bedsheet, this will make the signature stage a lot faster. Moving on to another slice of ham, requiring 15 attack for the Ancient Mace, which is another reason why I smashed out Death Plateau as early as I did. And honestly, for one of the older quests, I'm pretty impressed with how interactive it actually is. As you can probably tell, we're now polishing off all of the quests that'll give us any form of Prayer XP, whether it be from partial completion or the reward itself. During Shades of Morton, you gain a small amount of Prayer XP when lighting the funeral pyre, and this is certainly just a sneak peek because we'll be spending quite a lot of time here in the future. Another partial completion quest is Nature Spirit, where you get 90 XP from killing the 3 ghasts. Now this will also ensure that we future-proof the account in the case that we want to convert it into anything else, seeing we're still technically perfectly quested. Moving on to Spirits of the Elid, which isn't too much trouble at all, simply corner trap each NPC and flinch them down with their respective attack style. And finishing the Spirits of Elid is quite pivotal, seeing we can now boost our prayer with the Ancient Mace high enough for Cabin Fever and Rum Deal. Now I've done this kind of speedrun about 4 years ago, though back then we didn't have the PvP arena. On an obby, imbues would take roughly 4 to 6 hours depending on the gear and stats of your Venomolts. However, now you can just jump on over to the PvP arena with a bunch of mates and imbue a ring in literally 15 minutes. And thanks to a mate of mine, you can do this even faster by joining a tournament group with 4 accounts, guaranteeing 32 points per match by simply leaving on the opposition side. Not only that, but these scrolls can also be removed and put onto pretty much every other item that you see fit without consuming any item. Now that we've got our ring imbue and 30 plus Slayer, we can go for one small favour for the 10k XP lamps that'll go on, you guessed it, Slayer. When dealing with the Slagolith, make sure to switch into your pickaxe before your projectile lands. This will recognize the damage from the pickaxe and give you your original roll, as all the other forms of damage are nerfed heavily. And also, if you're spawn manipulating, you'll simply need to just wear the pickaxe at all times. One other interesting thing about One Small Favor is that you aren't technically finished with the quest until you actually use your lamps. You'll still get the quest completion interface, but you won't even get the quest points unless you use them. The Cold War quest, for whatever reason, grants 40 attack XP as a mandatory reward after defeating the Ice Lord towards the end of the quest. And of course, as an Obby Mauler, most will choose to stay one attack, and having any form of attack XP is considered taboo. Though, fortunately for us, there is a bit of a way around this. In fact, there are now two, through the introduction of Bounty Hunter in 2022. Both LMS and Bounty Hunter share the fact that you don't gain XP inside the area, and though it may sound meaningless to most people, it does have a few applications that really do come in handy. And again, for some reason the file that I recorded on the Obby Mauler seemed to have corrupted, so we'll use this old clip for reference. The boss still fundamentally acts the same, so it shouldn't matter. All we need to do is cause the majority damage to the Ice Lord, so you can also just use a Venom ult as well. And once the NPC is poisoned or venomed, we'll then teleport to LMS or Bounty Hunter and enter either the game or the crater. As you can see, you still get the XP drop inside LMS, though it does negate due to the status effect inflicted on the character when entering. And though there's only a few little instances where you can actually benefit from this unintended game mechanic, it's always nice to find a few things that set you from the rest. And the other day, Rendy also showcased a niche application of this particular bug, being able to complete the combat achievement Claw Clipper, where you need to kill the KBD with Protect from Melee on. This will also kind of abide by the same rules, but instead of negating XP, simply activating the prayer within LMS while also having the majority damage on the KBD will grant you this achievement without prayer. Now with the completion of Cold War, we've completed another quest where you quote-unquote risk getting unwanted XP, though it was mitigated as much as possible. Rag and Bone Man 2 has to be the worst possible quest, with just being unnecessarily long and so tedious. Though thanks to one of the boys having both great company and a body block, we were able to complete this one with no problem at all. We can also go ahead and claim our third and final lamp from the Historian, granting our last 1000 XP towards Slayer, achieving level 40. And with level 40 Slayer, we can now tackle the Lair of Tarn Razalor, which I actually had quite some trouble with even getting to the boss itself. Jumping over these pillars puts your character into quite a lengthy stall, causing all the projectiles to stack, and having such low HP had me killed quite a few times. Though, to mitigate this completely, you can literally just buy a Slayer ring and teleport directly to the boss. I don't know why I didn't choose to do this, but I was just in a hurry. Tackling Tarn also briefly puts you into a stalled player state while sending out his terror dogs, though these are easily dealt with by running directly to the eastern corner, then straight north to trap them on their cages. Once they're trapped, you can take on Tarn with relative ease, and once you've killed both phases, you're granted with 5k Slayer XP and the Salvami Enchanted. And the Salvami E will also have some application in the future, so we can put our Imbue scroll on it and make it work for both range and mage. I'll also slowly chip away at some of the achievement diaries for the passive Slayer rewards. Pretty much all lamps will go directly into Slayer, seeing it wouldn't really be an Obby Mauler without a Slayer staff, right? And with that said, following all the positive feedback in the previous episode, I also had quite a few people asking questions and building their very own obbies. So I thought to myself, why not just make an obby community of my own, where people can share their collective ideas, achievements, and even their goals. I've also run a very successful obby community in the past with the help of some very commendable people, and I'd like to provide this once again. So if you were once in the past a member alongside myself or creating a new Obby Mauler, I'd like you to try out Obby Legion. We'll both have a clan chat and a Discord, which at the time of the video I'll be working on to provide both a positive and enjoyable experience, but most importantly, there will be no idiots. The Obby community has always been plagued with people that think they're God's gift or the smartest person in the classroom, so with this community I plan to certainly change that. So with all that said, make sure to pop into the Obby Legion clan chat and say hello. I'll also leave the link to the Discord in the comments section below. Getting stuck back into the task at hand, we have Tiber One-Eye Trio, a quest that we can complete as Obbies if you've ever questioned the reward on any form of guide. The experience rewards only come from the brothers that you talk to, so if you simply don't talk to the combat brother, you won't receive the XP. To mitigate this even further, you can even remove the talk option of the brother by utilizing the custom menu entry swapper. As you can see, we've also resorted to literally alking while doing a bunch of random quests to reach 57 mage for Swansong. This quest also provides a massive chunk of prayer XP towards the 52 pray, so this one must be done. Furthermore, whoever moved the high alk spell is just simply evil. Normally on any Obby build, with completing all the quests that give mage XP and also using mage for the boss fights will only net you around 45 mage. You'll also use it for literally nothing else than maybe going for some sort of pets, so you can certainly do this on a regular Obby without any attack. We're going to need 45 smithing for Swansong too, so doing all of these quests in the reward order that you see here in the video could certainly save you some time. Swansong has two instances that we can tackle unconventionally, both the final boss and the troll waves. While dealing with the trolls, we don't even have overheads, so we'll start off by using the terrain to mitigate the number of trolls attacking us. These also have a strange character model, meaning that you can't corner trap or stack them on each other. They simply just path around these obstacles and continue to attack. However, there's one specific mechanic that I had never known about before recently. You can use runes on the wise old man after his initial attacks are over, and he'll continue to attack the sea trolls. Furthermore, his attacks are a lot more accurate. The only issue is that he does wander, so you can find yourself tanking multiple trolls at the same time. Dealing with the Sea Troll Queen can also be dealt with unconventionally. I'm not too sure why these particular NPC's attacks are coded the way that they are, but I'm certainly all for it. The Queen is meant to stay within the bounds of the water, but by kiting the boss with range to the correct tile, you can drag her completely out of the water. You can also, for some reason, flinch her with range, which shouldn't be possible, so I don't know how you can do this. The Sea Troll Queen can also max to 37 with a mage attack, so we purposefully waited on this one until we had 33 HP, so we could then G-rest over her max hit. Finishing Swansong is huge for the account because it'll get us high enough prayer to boost for Rumdeal, alongside all the other stats we got up for this very quest. Also, completing the Mountain Order up till you receive the Bearhead is another staple for an Obby account. Being the equivalent to a Mithril Fullhelm, this is exactly what you'd want for Melee Slayer, and even PKing. While doing the Elemental Workshop, I also completed the Achievement Diary step to kill each element, and I also got an extra 2 ores for the following quest. Both of these quests do provide great rewards, but if you are on an Obby tank, I'd advise against it, seeing it does unlock unwanted Slayer tasks for higher combat levels. I then went on to complete Family Crest, unlocking the Goldsmith Gauntlets that we'll use later on for 75 smithing, and also I knocked out another quest that has a high mage requirement. This one can also be boosted, so if you're staying low mage and range, it can be done at level 50. Make sure to be very careful when doing the Watchtower quest with low HP, seeing we've purposefully not started Dragon Slayer. You can get one hit if you run too close to the dragons. Again, this is done so we don't get any of the dragon tasks, which can be some of the worst tasks in the game. Now that we have all of the requirements, which are all boostable, we can move on to Rumdeal, one of my favourite quests, unlocking Trouble Brewing, or specifically the naval outfits. By doing another slice of ham earlier into the build, we could use it to boost our prayer with the Ancient Mace, putting us well over the required 47 prayer. The Evil Spirit can also be easily dealt with and has no immunities like recoil or poison if you do want to save HP. Our next goal is Contact, and subsequently Beneath Cursed Sands. This one will be done in episode 3, although it does have some hefty requirements, so that one's going to be a bit far off. Though for now, don't do what I did. Jumping over this gap requires you to simply have a lot of run energy. and if you keep trying around 20 to 30%, you'll literally fail every single time. I just wanted to know if there was actually something wrong with my account, but then I did look at the wiki, and yeah, I found out. Fortunately, the dialogue prompts you right after the quest if you have the requirements for contact, though before leaving, I wanted to quickly finish off one of the Desert Diary achievements to open the sarcophagus. I also use Menu Entry Swapper to remove the option to open the sarcophagus just in case I'm on some type of restricted account. Jumping back over to contact, it's actually made fairly easy now that we have prayer. Though at the moment I'm not used to using prayer at all, seeing I've been going for the Elite Combat Achievement Diary on Mauler v2, a 31 prayer obby that I've been working on very diligently. And in regards to that account, I've also been quietly putting together some clips for a sneaky video, a video where I redefine what should and could be possible. And if you understand game mechanics, what you see in front of you should come across as one of the craziest achievements within the game. And with that said, if you want to see something like this on the channel, please leave a comment down below and show your support. It really does go a long way. Back to the topic at hand, seeing we have Death Plateau complete, we can actually finish the entire questline up in Trollheim. Edgar's Ruse gives us a good amount of Herbler XP, and again we might as well complete it before working towards a Kingdom Divided. We also got a few more Goutweed just in case we do anything to this account in the future. When dealing with Arg during Troll Romance, you can simply body block him behind one of the Troll Guards, and secondly if you have Prayer, it won't even roll a chance of ranging you at all. This will also give us a nice little chunk of Strength XP as well, before we start pumping during our working hours. Cabin Fever marks one of the final quests that will give us Prayer XP, not including the Great Brain Robbery, which requires level 50. Other than that, the only extra XP that we can go for is from the Museum Kudos like I explained in the previous episode, in which we will do. And as much as I love this quest, I'd hate to say if this entails even a fraction of what sailing will bring to the game, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. They really should just add this kind of content as an instance minigame kind of thing, not just add an entirely new skill that we don't really need. Anyway, this is where we come to our next roadblock. We've completed everything we currently can that'll give us any kind of prayer XP, giving us the highest chance of receiving full Zealot, one of our goals explained in episode 1. Which means we have from 41 to at least 50 prayer to simply hope we have enough luck to finish the whole set. So for the next segment, our account will take center stage in Mauritania at the funeral pyres, and this is exactly where we'll remain until we achieve our goal. Now with that said, where we left off last episode was quite a pivotal point in the series. We've managed to cash out on all possible early prayer XP through quests and events. Yet we do have one remaining obstacle to tackle in regards to prayer, that being the Zealot robes being one of the key collection log slot items I wanted from the beginning. Once again, a Zealot piece drops at a rate of 1 in 128, so actually achieving the full set can be pretty difficult to say the least. I do believe someone did the calculations a while ago, and with the XP gain between 41 and 52 prayer gives you an estimated rate of 1 in 4 accounts to achieve the full set. Obviously, if we don't get the set, it wouldn't really be a reason to restart, more or less it would just be simply cool to have the full set while fully quested. Also, instead of stacking a bunch of keys, it's smarter to simply scatter the remains for the keys, then take them to the chest to minimize the XP loss in the case that we do get the full set before 52. Coming up first, we have the boots, which isn't the greatest piece that we could ask for, but it is a piece nonetheless. We actually got extremely lucky on this one too, being the very first run of the session. Though not only did we get the boots and a crazy amount of collection log pop-ups, we also managed to receive the hat in the very same inventory. It's pretty ironic showcasing this in the first place, seeing it may seem way more common than it should be. Nevertheless, it really is just some extremely dumb luck. Now each inventory will have some variation, as you can receive coins from the pyre instead of a key. This is just another factor pertaining to the more prayer XP gained with less chance of the drops. Fortunately for us, we're already off to an amazing start with 2 of the 4 pieces already obtained, and though we're optimistic, there's a very lengthy grind ahead of us. On just the 5th inventory, we managed to pull the row bottoms, and quite honestly, if this was the top, I would have considered just stopping here and remaining 43 prayer. I don't even think I'd benefit from the bottoms very much, but just the feat of having even the top and the hat at 43 would have been enough for me. Following the bottoms, we went through inventory after inventory, and prayer level after prayer level. Rightfully so, it seemed like our luck might have just finally run out. The Urium shades had quite literally burnt themselves out until our 10th inventory. At just 48 prayer, we had achieved the full set of Zealot robes. And that's just another one of my bigger goals for the account, ticked right off the list. Before going for the set of Zealot, I had told myself that certain mini-quests such as his faithful servant would be off the table, seeing all the XP would go into the pyres. However, after finishing this set, we can even go for that, granting us a massive 20k prayer XP drop from the completion of one simple Barrows run. And this will also knock out a quick combat achievement along the way. The strange icon can then be handed into the strange old man for a lamp, granting 20k prayer XP, which again is completely unnecessary, but there's literally only kudos left following this. We also would need 50 prayer for the Great Brain Robbery, so this is completely off the table for now. After completing his faithful servant, we needed to touch up on the last few quests, as for whatever reason I always try to complete every quest possible while building any account. I just have this fixation on future-proofing my builds in the case that something changes in the future, like how Corrupt Vesta longswords should be added into the game. Please. We then polished off some of the requirements for Kingdom Divided with the financial help from the brother that I showcased in the previous video. You see, I just so happen to be the world's poorest RuneScape player because I keep on investing into building the most ridiculous accounts every other week. And I don't know about you, but if you've seen the price of bonds, it's like we have the global financial crisis right here in our very game. Now with Tears of Guthix, I was extremely careful this time. Seen last time I did this quest, I was mid-conversation, literally zoned out and started claiming Tears on a pure. It's safe to say I never logged back into that account. Anyhow, moving on to the Slug Menace, where we can only melee and we can't pray. Though with the accuracy of 16 attack, this ended up being a piece of cake. Up next, we have the last few RFD subquests needed for Myth Gloves. We literally had no need for these in the early game, seeing I guess this entire account is considered early game, so we left this till last. Now, some of these quests, such like the Land of the Goblins, also do provide a decent amount of varied XP that certainly will help with some of the more grindy requirements in the future. It's also a bit more of an uncommon one. In fact, I think it's actually one of the first, or if not the first, time I've ever completed it. During the quest, we need to kill 4 demi-bosses and Strongbones, the final boss that attacks with all 3 styles alongside a couple of the other bosses as well. Meaning that if you're doing this with low HP like me, make sure to bank during the quest to get the maximum amount of food possible, seeing if you leave you have to restart. And clearly this was still down to the wire. In retrospect, I could have just done this after my chompy kills for more HP. Okay, so at this stage we need to work towards both 63 agility and 60 mage. We've also managed to get a bunch of alchemical junk from the golden chests, so we'll run some laps and train some magic at the same time. We're going to need 60 mage for both our god capes and to boost for the Wildy Hard Diary, while the agility will be put towards the completion of Beneath Cursed Sands and making friends with my arm. We did end up running out of literally anything to elk, so we just switched to burnt fish. Mind you, we did end up with a big chunk of change that we actually needed, from 60 mage. Having prayer truly does make everything that much easier, and because I've never really played with overheads over the past 10 years, it's certainly a nice change of pace. I was then able to breeze through the mage arena waves with no problem, achieving our God Cape. Now that we have our God Cape, I'd say it's the right time to knock out all of the spells, which we'll eventually use for the Mage Arena 2 Cape at 75 mage. These simply require just 100 casts within the Mage Arena of the respective spell, and I consider it a decent use of our Mage XP at this stage of the account. Following this, there's literally nothing we need to use our Mage XP on, so it'll strictly be used on wildy bosses for the slim chance of a pet if we're lucky. Also, if you tuned into the previous episode, you'll know that we recently opened our new Obby clan, and you're most welcome to come join in on the fun and progress your account alongside us. Since the return of the community, the enthusiasm of both our recent and older members has exploded, with a bunch of the boys putting in some crazy effort into their accounts. So if you're interested in either making your own or starting back up on your Obby, join Obby Legion Clan Chat and Discord, which will be up on screen and linked in the description. Moving on to arguably one of the worst and most unnecessary quests known to man. This whole break into the mansion to catch rat segment of the quest is literally the absolute worst quest you could possibly do. Especially right after an update, seeing all the NPCs are synced together throughout the worlds. I actually got angry at this quest, like I had to leave because I did this right after the server update. So note to self and note to all of you, wait till the end of the week to do this one. Apart from that particular segment, the rest of the quest is actually pretty cool, and couldn't come at a better time as the release of Scurius the Rat King. I'd also like to mention that I'm still in the midst of working on the combat achievement over completion on the Prayless Obby, and have been diligently working on some of the harder tasks on there. So if you are interested in helping towards that video, whether it be theory crafting or helping with certain raids, etc., send me a message on Discord or jump in the server and join the lads. Back to the video, we've also knocked out Children of the Sun, one of the new pre-quests for Valimor, which should give us one of the best in slot crossbows upon the release. This should also emulate the speed and hopefully the animation stall of the Hunter's crossbow, which should give us some more variety while PKing. Following the completion of all quests and diaries, we can now get stuck into Wildy Slayer, which this time we can actually utilize our excess range levels because we just have so many. Having 16 attack opens up another 10 range levels when maxed, meaning that we can freely cannon our Slayer up from 47 to 55. And by also utilizing Emerald Bolt's E, we can poison all NPCs for chip damage to further reduce the range XP gained, seeing we will get a few levels during this grind. Throughout the journey to 55 Slayer, I also had a few encounters out here in the wilderness, but fortunately managed to get away every single time, completing our grind in just a few measly hours. Cannoning Slayer from 47 to 55 was so quick, in fact I don't even have a clip of achieving 55 Slayer, which was made super easy through the addition of 16 attack. At this stage we've only got a few of the bigger quests left to complete, and we've been working towards these since the get-go. We gotta quickly smash out the thieving requirement for the Kingdom Divided, and to do so I'll showcase the fastest method down below. The lures you see will remain under the provision that you don't get too close to the guards, meaning that you can use this relatively AFK method, which gives you some of the fastest XP rates within the game. Artifact thieving can run at rates upwards of 200k XP an hour, and can be used to multi-skill if you see fit. I fortunately only had to do this for 30 odd minutes, till I could go and tackle one of my favourite quests, a Kingdom Divided. The Judge of Yama historically was one of the hardest bosses for an obby, seeing you can only use melee, and if you don't have overheads you need to constantly reset for Warhammer specs. I've done this on a few accounts over the years and actually came across a safe tile right at the back of the pier by the portal, where the flames can't hit you. If you are one attack, it's probably more advantageous to run back after your specs and wait it out with a light bearer until you lower Yama's defense sufficiently. This may take you upwards of 2 hours to finish off the fight, though fortunately for us, with the 16 attack and overheads, this ended up being a piece of cake. Xantha is a little different as it partially ignores prayer, as it simply reduces damage as opposed to negates it, though fortunately it does negate the grasp spells. Doing this without prayer will cause you to have the grasp spell land next to every time during the falling hand special attack, which you'll have to p-neck and rely on Ruby Bolt specs. In this particular instance, we certainly do have it easy, though you may have to attempt this a few times without prayer if you miss a few Ruby Bolt specs early into the fight. I also do have this recorded without prayer for the Mauler v2 series, and once we do start smashing out some more CAs, I'll upload a separate video pertaining to that. With the Kingdom Divided now finished, we've completed one of the greats, all within less than 6 days. Not only that, but we'll also plan to go even further. We've certainly achieved a lot in today's video, so I really do hope that you'll do me a favor and drop us a subscription, along with a like and most importantly, a comment. All these 3 things will obviously help towards the channel immensely, so do me a solid and help keep me doing what I love to do. Other than that, don't forget to check out the clan chat and the Discord, which will be linked in the description below. You can also ring the bell icon if you'd like, so you don't miss out on what's coming next. If you know me, you know I always have something cheeky up my sleeve, so you don't want to miss the finale. Finally, I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and as always, subscribe to the channel. Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. In the previous episode, we managed to clock off every looming quest, par the last few with either outrageous requirements and or some form of difficult bossing mechanics. And as you can see on screen, we finished off with the completion of A Kingdom Divided, unlocking the coveted Greater Corruption and the use of thralls. In today's episode, we'll be catching up to the current stage of the account, and once we've completed all possible quests, we'll be on the home stretch to finalize the build and put more priority into the actual stats. As most of you probably already know, I'm a bit of a completionist, and everything you see in today's video is done for the specific purpose of sinking combat XP into things I may need in the future, but probably not. It's a simple way to just future-proof the account. For example, we'll be ending off just shy of 200 quest points, which could unlock a new block task. When dealing with the giant rock, I'm used to stepping in and out of distance while tick-eating without prayer, though having overheads makes things so much easier, it also just makes everything quite different. As you can probably tell, I'm still getting used to even turning the overheads on, which you'll certainly see in the future. RuneScape just wouldn't be RuneScape without a bit of fashionscape, and through the completion of Cabin Fever, we'll have just that. Trouble Brewing is, let's be honest, a completely dead piece of content, though it does provide some awesome looking rewards. The conventional way to complete this minigame is to, and I quote, brew as much rum as fast as possible. These games run at a similar pace as Castle Wars, though fortunately for us, we'll be tackling it a little bit differently. We actually came across this method some years ago while going for the Trouble Brewing outfits on restricted accounts through the use of Skywalking into Mossly Harmless. By simply filling buckets, you would receive 1 piece of 8 per bucket of water up to 100, which would then cap your points. This process would take no longer than 2 to 3 minutes and can be reduced by using the alt that you'll need to perform this oversight. After capping my individual points, I then firstly leave the game on my alt on my team, then leave on the other team. The game would then recognise 2 players leaving from both teams, leaving only 1 individual left, force completing the game, resulting in 100 points per 2 to 3 minutes. Following the completion of our short trouble brewing grind, we then went on to tackle some of the KC towards 4,000 chompy kills. Between the chompy KC, we would polish off some of, if not most of the museum fossils for the 151 kudo reward threshold. This would provide us with the last lot of prayer XP from some form of task that we'd need before 50 prayer. Then we can move on to the Great Brain Robbery. Beneath Cursed Stands is considered the most coveted quest completion on an Obby Mauler, and as of early 2024 the boss mechanics eclipse all else to date. Starting off with the easiest of the lot, we have the Menophyte Guard, that can simply be kited around the rock formation and dealt with through any combat style, including melee with a halberd. The Champion of Scarabus is a wee bit more tricky, but can be handled through kiting to evade the specs and the damage reduction through overheads. We'll also be tick eating with the Guthix Rest to proc the Phoenix Necklace, which will help with the tick loss between attacks when alternatively healing. I actually really do enjoy the mechanics of these boss fights, especially the fact that they don't fully follow the conventional and clunky style of the older forms of PvM. It really does bring a bit more strategy into things, and I can't wait to show you all how I tackle these bosses without prayer. Now, I do actually intend on creating a specific video for the achievements completed over on Mauler v2. So I think for the sake of that video, I'm not going to spoil too much during this encounter. Furthermore, I do also want to see if anyone can actually complete it without prayer before I release the method itself. The APM required for this completion without prayer is pretty extreme to say the least. So if you think that you know how I tackled this, leave a comment down below and come back to the comment in the future to see if you were right. We'll come back to BCS at a later date, though until then we'll go ahead and knock out 50 prayer for the Great Brain Robbery to tie up one of our last quests on the list. So at this stage, I need 75 range to subsequently complete this build, but I didn't want to just waste my range XP cannoning or whatever. So I decided it could be advantageous to smash out some fire capes and possibly, if we're extremely lucky, perhaps even roll a pet. I would say I'm not usually one to shoot for pets, but at this stage I'm going to have to do the same for mage, since we've just got so much extra XP that we'll just need to use. I'd just like to quickly interject here and remind you all of our recent community Obby Legion, which has seemingly taken the Obby community by absolute storm. It's certainly wonderful to see all of the withered old Obbies shake off their feathers and return to the community. We've managed to welcome back practically everyone that we've played with over the years, and are open for all of those who are interested in making a similar build. So if you're interested, make sure to check out the Obby Legion clan chat or even the Discord, which will be linked in the description. At this stage, we're sitting at around 5kc, and unfortunately, even though it would require some extreme luck, we haven't quite hit the pet roll quite yet. However, we are now 70 range, which means we'll upgrade to the Webweaver bow, decreasing the time per cape drastically. Before we head back to the caves, we'll quickly knock out some of those last few quests left on the list. One being making friends with my arm, which I haven't actually done before, seeing all I play are these nonsense accounts. That being said, this is actually made pretty well. At first glance, I thought the boss could be dealt with by simply letting the trolls and the wise young man DPS him down, but he does have some outrageous HP regen. Now, looking back on this clip, this is probably due to the lack of being in combat with him, so I assume that as long as you're attacking the NPC, he shouldn't heal, opening up the boss to 10 HP accounts. Though I am sure this has probably already been well looked into. Unbeknownst to me, we'd be going directly into another fight, which certainly took me off guard. And I'd have to say thank God for the quest helper, because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing and playing everything by ear. The troll mother could simply be kited around the arena to avoid her melee attacks, which would give you an animation stall, though with overheads this wasn't too bad at all. Moving on to the Great Brain Robbery, which is the final quest that'll grant us prayer experience towards 52. And as for the rest of the XP, I'll just load up on Ecto tokens. However, I will wait for Valimor just in case we're thrown a curveball by Jagex, which does seem to happen quite often. Heading back over to the fight caves, I'd quickly like to mention this helpful runelight plugin called FC Spawn Predictor. This is going to tell you exactly where every NPC is going to spawn in the following wave, practically making each cape AFK in the brain. Simply set your rotation to rotation 2 and breeze through the cave. And if you didn't already know, just Google fight cave rotations for the list of real-time rotations which can be found on the wiki. Each cape seems to run us between 30 and 40k range XP, which can still be reduced by using Emerald Bolt's E. We could also be using Mage for certain NPCs, though as you'll see later on in the video, we do have a plan for that. And unfortunately to my dismay, as you can see in the 7kc we managed to achieve, we were unable to acquire the coveted Jad pet. Though I could have continued with the range XP I had left, I was led down quite a different path, which you will see at a later date. As I mentioned before, I wanted to use my mage XP on something like a pet, as opposed to simply alking or splashing to 75. As I was aware of the ensuing Valimor update, I did want to leave a little wiggle room for XP, though for the most part Mage is practically useless to us at this stage. With the help of my friend Paradox, we managed to work out a more than reasonable Scorpia method with the use of alts. By gathering all of the baby scorpions onto one of the alts, we can then re-enter the cave on the KC account, thus being the obby, negating all damage from both Scorpia and the minions. We also tested the use of the Tharamin Scepter on regular cast mode in tandem with the Tome of Fire, which does actually stack both damage bonuses. The Scepter has a passive effect within the wilderness to increase both accuracy and damage by 50%. Now add the Tome of Fire, which also increases damage by 50%, we're hitting 36s at 60 mage without a saturated heart. Not to mention, this will also increase again with the upgrade to the Scepter and Occult Necklace at 70 mage. We can also drastically increase the use of alts from 8 to 12, which will speed up the kills exponentially towards 200 odd per hour. Now, we will come back to Scorpia soon, though we do have some more pressing matters over in Valimor, which, as I predicted with the release of 4 new quests, will push us over 200 quest points. Not to mention, I must say the Perilous Moons quest and activity is actually really clever and well put together, so quite honestly, well done Jagex. Though before moving on to that quest, we have to finish Twilight's Promise, which is reasonably easy and both encounters can be easily dealt with without combat experience. As you can see, I was a bit of a muppet and forgot my Book of the Dead, but the Knight of Valamor is not immune to poison or venom, which means you can use poison dynamite. And the second encounter against the cultists is more or less self-explanatory. You don't even need to deal damage at all. Now, before we start the Perilous Moons, I came to collect my care package from Kinky Pinky after work, coming in clutch like he always has done. By the way, look up this demon. His account is absolutely insane. Just some food for thought. If you're doing these quests as of release of this video, I urge you to utilize Slayer Music's guide, which has been uploaded within 12 hours or so of the release. Thank you as always. And now, without further ado, let's get stuck right into the Perilous Moon. Dealing with the Blue Moon is fairly simple. Attack the highlighted cracked ice while avoiding the sprouting stalagmites, avoid the tornadoes while lighting the braziers, and attack the boss from the highlighted tiles. Now, the Blood Moon is a little bit more complex. If you're sub 75 HP, death spawn an inventory of both brews and a few restores while using thralls as chip damage. If you do have 75 plus HP, simply bring 4 super restores and 1 regular restore and the rest brews while using a Ring of Suffering. Now simply avoid the blood splatters, attack the designated Jaguar on the correct tile, and attack the boss on the highlighted tile. And finally, let's deal with the last boss, the Eclipse Moon. Make sure to hide behind the boulder during the first special and simply face the direction of the moon within the same tick during the secondary special. Other than that, make sure to remain on the highlighted tile to reduce damage taken. One last note, prayer isn't necessary here, so don't worry about overheads. This was done on the first day, so please don't judge. We're now all caught up to the current day of recording, so I do have some hearty work to put in to finish off the end stats of the account. Anyhow, I did actually need to put this account into practice, seeing we put so much effort into it. I did want to do a little bit of a PK video for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy. It was quite fortunate that we did save a little bit of range XP after level 70 for the Infernal Cape, because we did end up failing a couple of times. Nevertheless, we do have a perfect Smite Obby Mauler now. This has to be one of the best accounts within the game. You'll understand exactly what I mean in terms of the accuracy and just the output of damage in regards to Smite fighting with the Greater Corruption. It is unbelievable how much I PK'd. And again, this account took me so long to make and theory craft for that I'm so glad that it actually worked out in the end. And seeing it has been quite a while since I've uploaded in this particular series, make sure to go and re-watch the entire series, which will be linked in the description. So without further ado, I hope you guys all enjoyed the live commentary, and if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments section below, and I'm sure I'll be able to get to all of them. Alright, 5th fight with this guy. I have no idea how we're still fighting him. There we go. Jesus. Should have been done ages ago. But yeah, this account is extremely OP. I wasn't actually using my spec on him. I was using the dragon throwing axes afterwards, after a whack, just to make it a little bit different, because we can actually do that on this ping. Can get a bit annoying. We'll get him like that. Nice. That should be actually quite a good loot still. So we're going to take a look at that. 1.6 mil loot, not too bad. and a full bank, which I need to kind of clear up at some point, but nice loot nonetheless. Okay, that's actually perfect. So now his defense is lowered. We should actually be able to hit him with just the regular hammer whacks a little bit more frequently. If we don't die, which we won't, we'll kill him. Nice, good fight. So that should be at least a mil loot, I believe. No, we didn't, but nice loot nonetheless. Should be able to take him. Sorry, I was taken a bit off guard. You can see that he got hit for a 3 there, so he's actually smited, and he's probably about to get smited again. That was a massive stack. Jeez, let's go and see if we actually got the smite. He was smited at the beginning of the fight, which is a bit crazy, but it just really goes to show how much the chip damage does with both the smite and the greater corruption. Let's take a look, and we got his Debo. So it's a perfect example of how strong this account actually is. It's got just enough HP to where it's not too annoying, but I do die quite frequently, I will say. I haven't died yet though, which is pretty good. Very interesting combo. He's dead. Yeah, good fight. Good fight. Another free cheeky mill in the bank. Not so much, but good fight nonetheless. And as I said, about those 1 mil kills, literally every single one, except like maybe a couple. So we did actually go to get range, just because there is that rusher out at the moment. But we did actually manage to get a target, so let's take a quick squiz at his stats. Okay, so he should risk a G-maul. There we go. That was beautiful. And with that, we also received a tier 10. By the way, this is a guy that I'm talking about. Yeah, I really don't understand why people even bother to make like rushes nowadays, because they can be antied by accounts such as this. You don't really have to have much of anything, you just attack them, for example. There we go, he's dead. It's just useless. And he is actually going for the smite tech, which is fair enough from him. But he won't manage to, because we actually got a really, really big hit. 8 at 55, bro? That's a bit ridiculous, don't you think? And we got an ancient emblem as well, which is, I believe, 500k. So we have another fight with a min-maxed, non-skull, max set G Mauler, which, to be honest, pretty cringe, to say the least. Might have lost the hammer. I think he has. Killed himself. He did have the hammer, which is good. Anyways, we'll take a look at the loot. 700k. So at least he still did risk something, but still. Alright, I got a fight with my friend over here. He's probably going to smoke me because I've just logged in. He's made exactly the same account as I have off the video that I made, which is really cool. Ooh, nice. Damn. Good fight. Fight this guy. I'm actually going to try and get rid of his prayer. Lower the, oh, he's just walking towards me. Interesting. Okay. Oh, good fight. Good fight. That was really clean. I just wanted to go for that little combo. And I will be doing that a little bit more often just to make it a little bit more spicy. Oh, Jesus. Alright, we got a fight here with a Obby, but my target's coming, so good fight. I'll fight that guy next. We're gonna re-get a melee PK, just because this guy, there's actually no way that I'm gonna kill him in the gear that I have with the 75 HP, so we will just quickly re-gear. Damn it. That's just off there, but he was full HP anyway, so lucky I didn't spec him. Oh no. Can we clutch up? No. Oh. He's on the back foot. Good fight, bro. Good fight. Okay, so it looks to me like we can pull out the debo on this guy. Pull out the debo and just change our gear real quick. Alright, we're going to try a technique here. Good fight, bro. Good fight. We didn't smite him, unfortunately. So I don't think he actually risked anything. But it was a good fight nonetheless. Oh, wow. Surprising. You must have had like a B-ring eye on or something. Good fight. We got a fight with one of my good friends. So let's see how we go. He's basically the same stats as me, just a little bit higher. Min-maxed. Real, oh, let's see, one sec. Real good account. Really, really good account. Oh. Bugger. That's our only option. We can't, oh! We can't get him anymore, I don't think. Whoops. Good fight. Good fight. Got me. We are range PKing this time though, so he is probably going to smoke us. He's got higher range than me. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay. Nice, good fight, brother, good fight. Alrighty. Round 3 with this guy. He's the same HP as me, so like he's actually doing really well for himself. I forgot to pot again. Damn. Unlucky. Hit a 0. Gee, right. That was a good fight. That was a good fight. Where do you go? Good luck. Okay, I'm just going to spec him right away, pretty much. We can't be arseholes here. Jeez, he's about to kill me. Nothing's registering. Alright. Jesus. Good fight. Good fight. 1 axe and 2. Damn it. Oh, I didn't want to go there. Didn't want to go there. It's okay. It's okay. Damn it. Didn't even get to work it out. Bugger. Good fight, good fight. Alrighty. What the? This guy's skulled? Okay. I wonder. It could be huge. Let's see. Bugger. Nice kill though. Okay, we got a rematch with this guy. Last fight didn't go too well. Okay. Now the question is, did we smite him? Probably not. Probably not. It was a little bit too early into the fight, but I had to wait after that 6 drop. Let's see. Bugger. Straight into another target. It looks like perhaps an obby. And I can't even look them up, so one prayer. Okay, so the 87 HP, so just your standard bought obby, which is all good. I don't mind, so we might just have to dump some specs into this one. No, it's not worth it. Good fight. That was super clean. Good fight. Let's see what he risked. He was on skulls, probably nothing, but 200k, not too bad. Okay. Had to go for the double there. It'd be rude not to. Oh. Might as well drop the spec. And good fight. 61 stack there, that was really lucky to be honest. Shouldn't have got him like that, but we did. And good fight. Real-time re-gearing here, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to change over to our range equipment real quick. We've got a target that is a bit of a mischievous character. Oh, I love this game. It's so funny. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed today's showcase of a little PvP action on the Smite Corruption Obby. And I truly have to say that it is the creme de la creme of the bracket with ease. With the high versatility, being able to PK with every combat style while still having very high KO potential, it's certainly been built to perfection. And I have to say that I've had the most fun PKing on this very account. And now, as you can see below, I do have a few other crazy little builds floating around that I could be willing to do a video on them as well. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see. Some of these accounts aren't even possible to make anymore, so they could make for some very interesting videos to say the least. So without babbling on too much longer, if you enjoyed today's video and made it this far, do me a favor and drop me a like and a subscription. It really does go such a long way. With all that being said, happy scaping and have a wonderful day.